What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? We are back for part 2, y'all, of our 2023 NC State football season predictions, y'all. So if you haven't checked out part 1 yet, where we talked about UConn, Notre Dame, VMI, and Virginia, make sure to go check that out first and foremost to come right back here. But just as a recap once again, so Greg and Michael both have State being 4-0 up until this point, and then me and Macon have NC State at 3-1 with a loss to Notre Dame. But let's go ahead and jump right back into it here with Louisville, the Cardinals coming to Carter-Finley Stadium. So Greg, get us started.
Yep, like I said in the first episode, this is the back half of a back-to-back Friday night games, which is really interesting for college football. I'm not so sure I've ever seen two team play back-to-back Fridays, so I'm kind of excited about that. Obviously, a night game, Carter-Finley Stadium, we know how those usually turn out. State's usually very, very good at night games. Louisville, when we do our in-season previews, this is the one. When we do the Louisville in-season preview, I'm just not sure what to expect of this team because they have a really easy schedule lining up this year, and State's going to be one of their more difficult opponents. So, new head coach, a lot of new. I think they had like 44 transfers that came into their program, some ridiculous number, and I just don't know what to make of them. So I'm going to say win, going 5-0. I like us on a night game in Carter-Finley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Macon?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. New coach Jeff Brom's going to be there. Half the team is new. Jack Plummer is going to be their quarterback probably for Louisville, coming from Purdue. I don't really know what to think about Louisville either. Their preseason pick to finish 5th, which seems high to me. But that's just betting on there's got to be some guys in this troop that are going to be really good, in my opinion. I mean, they picked State to finish 4th, which is kind of interesting to me too. But they, I don't know. I'm thinking State's going to get this win. It is a night game, like Greg said. All the things Greg said. It's just I don't know how they can have all of that gelling by game. Was it 5? And it's a night game, and the next game for Louisville is Notre Dame as well. If I were them, I would care about this NC State game more than I would the Notre Dame game because it's in conference.
True,
but we'll see. I don't know. I think State gets this win. I'm trying to figure out which game is my litmus test game for State this year. This might be that, but I don't know yet. So the jury's still out for me on that question.
Well, I mean, this is a game where basically the spread is a pick'em game between us and Louisville. So, I mean, that's why I would agree and say this is the one because, I mean, technically for Vegas, it's 2 very even teams. But the one thing which I do want to clarify to you, Macon, is so Jack Plummer actually was 3 years at Purdue, but then he transferred to Cal for a year last year, and now he's coming to Louisville. So,
almost
like
a
little bit interesting.
Brendan Armstrong situation because I think Brom brought his OC from Purdue. And so he's reuniting with him too.
Honestly, the more I look at it, I'm just kind of go through here. It might be, I could even kind of see, is the Notre Dame game a litmus test for State maybe? I mean, it's a similar situation team.
I think it is. 13th ranked, Notre Dame might be top 10 by the time they come here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason why I'm kind of hesitant to call it litmus is because to me, I'm happy if we lose by one possession. I mean, being realistic. I mean, of course, I'm not happy. Like, yay, we only lost by one possession. But
it's understanding.
I'm content. Yeah. I'm content with losing by one possession Notre Dame. So I think for this one, this is one where, if we are going to take that next step in this season, we got to beat Louisville. If we don't, then, that kind of raised some eyebrows. Right. But Michael, anything to add on your thoughts and your prediction?
So I'm gonna say this is a loss because I picked us to beat Notre Dame. So I gotta throw another loss in there somewhere. And there's games later in the schedule I don't think we're gonna lose. So I'm gonna go a loss here just because I've got to pick a loss somewhere. A couple losses in the schedule. Well, I guess I don't have to, but I'm going to. I don't know. It's one of those things. Louisville could be really good, or they could be really bad, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're really good and the second week in a row of a Friday night game. That sounds like a weird situation for us. So I'll say a loss here.
And make it. What was your win?
I said we win
loss?
this game. I think we win this game. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, yeah. So for me, so my biggest thing is that this is just basically like, to me, this is like taking like a bunch of like paper circles and gluing them together and trying to sell it as 8x5 piece of paper. Like it can work, but it's not going to be easy. I mean, like, cause everybody is a transfer. Very much most of their defensive lines transfer. Most of their wide receivers. You have a transfer from UNLV, transfer from Cincinnati. You have a defensive tackle transfer from Arizona State. You have what's my boy? Storm Duck from UNC.
Corner, I think. He might be starting for them.
Yep. Starting for corner. So and then Jack Plummet,
touchdowns.
Yeah. So I mean, you have pretty much a whole team that just got put together. So we'll see. But yeah, for me, I'm saying that, being at State, I'm calling this a win. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a great game Friday night. But I mean, and it's very tough to come into Carter Finley during night games and win. Yeah. It's tough. So that's why I'll do a win there as well. So all right, let's jump on over. Go ahead.
No, we're talking about these close games, and the one thing that we just don't know, we don't have a Christopher Dunn anymore, right? And so these close games may not be, going in our favor that we're just kind of accustomed to. So that could be the difference in a game or two that we're not really factoring.
But luckily enough, I mean, it sounds like from camp we have a couple of great options. So I mean, it's not like can somebody step out? It's like we have two kickers which are neck and neck. So. All right, so let's move on over to Marshall here. Macon, I guess, just get us started here. I mean, this is a team that's coming in that is not going to be, to me, it's not going to be a 3-possession win. I think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, I think it could be, because I just keep going back to last year with, with how they beat Notre Dame. Had a really good start to the season. I don't remember them being that good the rest of the season, where they weren't that good, I don't think.
They made a bowl, but everyone makes a bowl.
They finished 9-4.
They finished 9-4.
Okay, well then I can't remember. Okay, then maybe they are going to be pretty tough then. I had not really looked this game. I kind of view this as like a maybe not a trap game, so to speak, but that kind of expression. This could be that, because you walk in against Marshall. I think the one thing that if I were State's coaches, I would go show them, unless Marshall's beaten somebody before that season, they go show that Notre Dame clip and saying they will come and get you if you are not ready. So I think State gets this win. I do think this is closer. You know that Georgia Southern game we played about, I think it was Jacoby's first season, 2014, first game?
Yeah.
We barely won that game. I guess this is going to be kind of like
Georgia
one of those.
Southern, but yeah.
What'd I say?
So you said the first game of 2014. That was
I think it was Georgia Southern, right? Yeah, I think it's gonna be that kind of game. I don't think it's gonna come down the wire necessarily, but I think you're gonna maybe feel a little uncomfortable going into the fourth quarter and maybe through the fourth quarter. And I think State gets a win here. If State can get a win here, that'd be pretty good. That for me, puts them at I think 6-1 at that point. So.
5-1.
5-1. Okay.
Yeah.
I think they could be pretty good.
Yeah, Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a win, but like Macon said, this could be a tricky one at home. Last year, Marshall was 6th in college football on defense. They've only allowed 16 points per game and less than 300 yards of offense per game. So they had a really good defense last year. I don't know enough about Marshall to know how much they lost off that defense, but assuming it was that good last year, I'm sure it'll be solid again this year. I'm going to say win, but it definitely could be a tricky one.
Yeah, so a little bit more stats. So this team averaged about 206 yards of rushing per game. And it was a dual threat between the quarterback and the duo of running backs between Kalan Laborn and Rashina Ali, who rushed up for over 1,400 yards and 23 touchdowns. So, I mean, you're going to see an offense that's very run heavy, which, I mean, again, for us, I mean, that's definitely a positive. I think, if you're going to look at why is State going to win this game, because I think it's strength on strength. And while for the other side, when it comes to offense versus defense, it's a defense that was really good last year, but also too they lost a lot of their starters. So there's going to be a lot of piecing back together, for the Marshall defense. So for me, this is a game that if we're going to win this game comfortably, it's going to be because the offense gets us there. It's not necessarily. I mean, I think the defense will do their job. I think Marshall will get theirs, but I think that this is a game where you got to rely on the offense to get 30, 35 points and win, 35-14, something like that. I think that's within the realm. So, Greg, finish this up here, man.
Yeah, this is a Conference USA team. We did say they went 9-4. I'm just looking at their schedule from last year. Their opponents don't scare me. I mean, other than the Notre Dame win, which is a nice win, they did finish the season with a win over Connecticut that we blew out, and they beat them by 2 touchdowns. This is a replacement. This was supposed to be Cincinnati, but we ended up having to change that out.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I think this is a win. It might be a little closer than we might like. I'm not maybe sure we cover the spread, but I said in the first episode, I don't care about that. Just give me a W, and we're still undefeated on my scorecard.
Yeah, man. So Greg's guys going 6-0. But I mean, yeah, Wolfpack Nation. Today, if you're going into halfway point 5-1, one game away from bowl eligibility, I mean, you're feeling pretty darn good. So
can I ask this question? So this is now we're doing the predictions halfway through the season at this point, right? If
Right.
State's 5-1, where are they ranked? Are they ranked?
Yes.
Yeah.
So where are they ranked? What do you
Borderline.
think? Where do you think they rank? Because they haven't beaten. I mean, they would have beaten to some of you
Notre
guys.
Dame.
You beat Notre Dame. That's
Yeah.
your best win. Louisville and Louisville will be respectable, maybe, hopefully.
You're probably
Yeah.
between 20 and 25.
I actually go 17-22.
Okay.
Somewhere a little, maybe you break
Yeah.
the top 20.
Yeah, and it just depends on how everything else shakes out, right? I mean,
Yeah, what other teams do? It's hard.
yeah,
it's hard to say.
it's really hard to predict all those variables, but I
Right,
think
I
you're
get what
somewhere
you're
in the
saying. I get
17 to
what you're
22. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
I
if
agree.
you're 6-0, are you are you near 15?
If we're 6-0, yeah, we're top 15 at that point.
with
You-
wins
'cause
over
you'll-
Notre Dame and Louisville,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I just get curious because I mean it's pretty high cotton, right? With the new OC, new QB, receivers that people don't think have a perception that they're not going to be great receivers, so to speak. I don't know.
Yeah. And if you listen to Vegas, which again, I said I'm not a gambler. I mean, at this point, we should only have 3 or 4 wins, right? Based off of their predictions. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, Vegas is basically saying we're going 7-5.
Right.
So,
Right.
with probably losses to UNC, Wake Forest, Clemson, Notre Dame,
And Louisville.
or Miami.
Yeah.
Louisville or Miami. So yeah, by this point they're basically saying we're 4-2,
Right.
5-1, something like that.
Right.
So
Somewhere in there.
so basically at this point we're predicting for State to be a little bit above what Vegas says, which I completely agree with. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump on over to Duke here, y'all. Michael, you got next here. So you got NC State going to Duke for the first time since 2013, 10 years ago, and that game was actually pretty close for a Duke team that went on to compete for an ACC championship. So for an NC State team that was really, really bad at that point to go compete against Duke that end up going to compete for ACC championship was very interesting. So give us your thoughts here, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are high on Duke. They have an extremely tough schedule. They play from the preseason poll. They play 7 of the top 8 teams, and that's because they can't play themselves. So they play everybody ahead of them.
In the ACC.
In the ACC, yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. I would be surprised if they're better than 6-6 this year, and that doesn't mean they won't be a good team because their schedule is so tough. 6-6, 7-5 would be a really good year for them, I think. But I just think it's in Durham, but I mean that's going to be half State fans. So playing at Duke doesn't really. I don't think that really affects my prediction. I don't think Duke is going to have the depth really to kind of have another 8-4 season or get to 9 wins. They've got a couple good starters, including their quarterback. I mean, Riley Leonard's going to be great, but I think just our depth at this point is better than them and should give us the win.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flightland's Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flightland's Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flightland's Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flightlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. Yeah, so for me, so just to kind of recap, so Duke went 9-4 last year, 5-3 in the ACC underneath first-year head coach Mike Elko. So definitely very, very impressive and well worth the ACC Coach of the Year honor he got. For me, so, Riley Leonard, the quarterback, was actually the team's leading rusher last year, ran for almost 700 yards, threw for almost 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, and just 6 picks. So he was exceptional last year, absolutely exceptional. I think the biggest thing for Duke this year is to really get the running backs going and not, have Leonard run as much. But offensively, I would say that outside of Riley Leonard, there's nothing that really stands out in terms of personnel-wise, but I think that Riley Leonard's that good that he will make the Duke offense, basically like a bend but don't break offense. Like they won't turn the ball over a lot. They won't shoot themselves in the foot a lot. So I think that, if the defense can keep them at bay, and once again, the offense got to step up. I think this is, again, a case where you can't win this game by scoring 14 or 17 points. You got to score well into the 20s, if not low 30s, to win this game. So, and then on the defensive side, last year the defense started off terrible, but with Mike Elko being a former defense coordinator, they ended up being pretty darn solid last year. I don't really see. I see basically a level playing field with this team. Besides Riley Leonard, who definitely has a case for one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the ACC this year right now. So in my opinion, but for me, I'm putting this. I'll put this as a win, but as a close win. So Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm right there with you with the win. I don't know. I have us. What do I have? Is that 7-0, 8-0 at this point?
7-0. Man,
is that McKenzie?
I know.
McKenzie, I know. Did McKenzie send you her notes?
No.
She said we win.
Coming into this, I didn't think I would. I'm drinking a lot of Kool-Aid. I'm not going to lie. Just everything I'm seeing and hearing and reading, and I'm very bullish on this offense because really, for me, that's where this team. That's going to be the difference between win and losses for me is the offensive side of the ball is the question marks. But getting back to this, I think it's going to be a lot of NC State red in that stands. I just bought my tickets not too long ago, and there were still plenty of seats left. So I don't have anything really to add other than what you guys have already said. I just think we just keep rolling, man. By this point, this offense has figured it out. If they haven't figured it out already, you're 7 games into it. Barring any crazy injuries, I think we're too much for this team. Like you said, the depth is there. I just think we win again. I don't know. I can't believe I'm saying it 7-0.
I know. Because if you're 7-0, you're borderline top 10. If not top 10, which just seems kind of ridiculous for the expectations of this team heading into the offseason. But Macon, give us your final thoughts here on Duke, man.
The more I was thinking about it through these predictions we've been going through, I think this might be the litmus test game.
Game 7 though? It's kind of late.
Yeah, but I know, but maybe it is Louisville, but to me, this is okay, let's say we go, what was it, 5-1, 6-1, or 6-0, 7-0, and you can get this win. I feel like there's still some really winnable games. That's it can, maybe the way to put it is that you can get this win is maybe this can take your season to another level.
Sure.
I kind of think State's going to win. I mean, I think State's going to win this game, and I kind of think this is going to be a game that the defense balls out. It's going to be. I don't know what time it'll be at. I think it'd be pretty cool for it to be a night game a little bit there and to let State go. But I just feel like this opportunity for a guy like Battle or White or the line to really go after Riley Leonard to shake him up and kind of say, okay, it's their strength versus our strength, and we're going to shut them up. I'd like to think that's what's going to happen. But I got us to win. I got us to win this game. I think it's going to be a score, like a touchdown or so. That 7.5 point line, maybe.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be close.
Yep. So let's move on now to our last game of this part, which is Clemson coming to town. As of they do actually have a line in Vegas on this game right now, and State is a 10.5 point underdog, which is interesting because the last time Clemson came to town back in 2021, we were a 10-point underdog, and obviously we all know how that ended. But coming into this year, Clemson last year was 11-3 overall, 9-0 in the ACC champions. They're the favorites to win the ACC this year. And I think, making, like you were saying, I think that Duke game can be huge heading into this game, in terms of momentum, in terms of, kind of that feel, like that excitement in the fan base. If you go into that Clemson game, 6-1, State is I mean, this might be, I don't know what the other games are, but this could be borderline college game day. I mean, because it's going to be 2 top 15 teams. Now, I know that probably is not going to happen because it was Clemson versus NC State last year, but I mean, with it being at State,
maybe
is that a little bit enticing? I don't know, but again, just kind of some thoughts there. But so for me, what can you say? I mean, obviously, Cade Klubnik being the starting quarterback, which to me is a guy that's very, very overly hyped. I mean, in terms of as a talent, I'm not saying as talent he's overrated, but I'm just saying they're already hyping him up when he really hasn't done a whole lot yet in terms of game wise yet. I mean, he did come in and pull off the comeback win against Syracuse, which was great to see. He beat UNC in the ACC championship game. But for me, it's kind of an interesting point of, well, did he? Obviously, he never did quite enough to fully get that starting role during the season, because every single game, Dabo Swinney would come right in and still start DJ Uyunglele to start every single game. So to me, it's like, I feel like that's something that's not talked about enough. It's like, well, we're talking about Cade Klubnik like he's the next Trevor Lawrence, but yet when Trevor Lawrence took over for the former quarterback for Clemson during Texas A&M, I mean, even though that quarterback was playing really, really good, they put Trevor Lawrence in. But for Cade Klubnik, DJ Uyunglele was terrible, but yet Cade Klubnik never fully became the starter until the bowl game. So I think that's something that's not talked about enough. Greg, so for me, this is a loss. But I'm putting this still as a loss. I think it's a close game, but I have NC State going 6-2 after Clemson. Greg?
Yeah, this is where we take our first loss from me too. I think we had a nice run going 7-0. Everything you just said, they've got a lot of first team guys. Their linebacking core with Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Will Shipley, great running back. Again, for me, I'm not sold on Klubnik yet. He's got all the skills and potential, but he hasn't shown the consistency. So I think this team definitely goes as far as he goes. They got really good line play on both sides of the ball. Their wide receivers don't really scare me. Like they don't like to jump off the name, like the Justin Rosses and, the Renthros, like those old, yeah, exactly. So I think we can win. Obviously we've done it before, with that same point spread that you mentioned, but here's the other thing too. I'm wearing this shirt here. Apparently, there's going to be a new uniform that's coming out that night. So maybe it's a night game. Maybe we get some of that crazy night magic. But I still think it's a loss.
Yeah. Macon, what you got, man?
Yeah, I think it's a loss as well. There's a little part of me that wants to say this is a win. And the reason why here's why I say that. And maybe as the more I think about it, maybe I'll say it's going to be a win. But the reason why I say that is I'm going to go with loss just for the record. But I got a feeling because last time we beat them was here 2 years ago. We basically beat them by death by 1,000 cuts, right? We had a lot of short yardage plays and Emeka, the corner back shoulder throw.
We ran like almost 100 plays that game.
Right. But we held them to 40. I think we had 40 minutes of offense.
Yeah.
And they had 20, something like that, 41-19, I think is what it was.
Yeah, it was insane.
And, yeah. I don't know if we do that. I don't know what the strategy will be with their offense. Garrett Riley, I think, was the OC at TCU. Mm-hmm. He's now the OC at Clemson. They're going to throw the ball a lot. And I think Will Shipley is going to be a problem again. That's why I think it might probably loss. But the other part of the reason I think we could have a chance with this is I think State's going to throw the ball a lot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think
they're going to take shots a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a gamble, right? Those kind of plays are a gamble, especially when you got receivers who haven't totally proved themselves in our, on State's offense yet. I just think Clemson's going to do it better on offense, and I think the defense is going to be good. I think our defense is going to be really good. I just think they have just the slightly more talent than we do. I will say, to your point, Lane, I think it is going to come down to, is Klubnik the real deal, right? I mean,
is this maybe a NFL like highlight tape maybe for Brandon Armstrong? I mean, you look at Brandon Armstrong and you say, if you want to be that first round pick that you say you deserve to be, this is that game where you could put that on the map.
Yeah, I think State's going to take some shots in this game. Like, I don't think it's going to be the same strategy it was 2 years ago or even last year. Last year we took some shots down there. I mean, we did. I mean, I can think of a few passes we did on the sidelines, but I think it's going to be notably. Yeah, I think it's going to be notably more. I'm not saying hey, every other possession we're chucking it. I'm just saying I think State's going to be aggressive against Clemson, and I still think it's a loss though. So.
The old adage that they used to say was, 2 yards in a cloud of dust, talking about the run game. But that seemed like Tim Beck's offense, a screen pass and 2 yards in a cloud of dust. Because, like I said, I rewatched that Clemson game from 2 years ago. And, yes, we ran 100 plays because every other play was 2 yards, negative 3 yards, because we had like 20 penalties that game. You're going to have to play a clean game when you play Clemson. And so you have to figure that out.
I wonder if the key for State, right, is the offense has to hit, right? If we think the defense is going to be the defense, the defense is going to hit.
Yeah.
The offense is the question. Does Brennan outperform Klubnik?
Could happen.
I think it's a higher probability than not that happens.
Right.
I just think the team is probably more talented for Clemson State right now, but not by a whole lot. But I think it's there.
And the one thing I'll say is we even talked about this, and this changes the whole dynamics. We're 7 games into it. There's going to be some injuries. Teams aren't going to be 100%. Yeah. So who's coming into this thing healthy? Who at the key positions? For me, it's can the offensive line hold up against that defensive line and the linebackers? Can you give Brennan enough time to get the ball down the field? And if you do that, I think if you can do it, you're going to win. You're going to be in the ball game, but. I'm not so sure. So
I can see our line being thin at that point potentially.
Michael,
fun.
Yeah. Michael, thoughts?
Yeah, I came in to this. I had everything planned out on what I was going to pick in our record, and I'm throwing it out the window now. As we've been discussing, I'm going to go with a win here. I'm going to go with a win.
Oh, nice. Okay. Is Mackenzie over there?
I know.
You don't need to be talking, Greg. You don't need to be talking.
Come on.
No, I think it's a win at home. This is going to be the biggest game of the year at home. I think. I mean, you could argue Notre Dame, but this is probably going to be a night game.
Yeah, this one.
Is this homecoming too? I think this is homecoming.
It may be.
It is.
Maybe Halloween
It's
weekend.
right there, the Halloween, close to Halloween kind of
It's gonna
thing.
be,
Yeah.
Students are going to be crazy. And it's my wedding day.
Gosh
so
dang it.
that's going to be a
I think
W.
it's going to be. I really think it's going to be the Brennan Armstrong show for state.
This
I think
is
we wait
making
most of the season.
like we are literally talking. I mean, I can't. I mean, I've
Greg, stick your guns. Let Michael have his moment, okay?
He's convincing me. I mean, everything's pointing to where we should win this game, right? All the crazy intangibles that aren't on the field related.
I'm getting married.
Greg, I
that
appreciate
day.
that you want us to go 8-0, but I can't let you
I know.
predict
I
this.
know.
Yeah, no. Again, I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah.
I think 10 points is a little
That's insane.
aggressive
Yeah.
for sure. But I mean, I think maybe like 6 is more maybe where I put this game. But it's going to be a great game.
It comes down
I'm
to
looking
one
forward to it.
play is what you're saying.
And once again, I just have to remind everybody once again that, I mean, this is all talk, but to me, again, like if even 75% of what we're talking happens, it's just another feather in Doran's cap, being like, you can lose Devin Leary, you can lose Tanner Engel, you can lose Drake Thomas, Isaiah Moore, you can lose Corey Durden, you can lose all these guys, Jimmy Sumo, Devin Carter, and still head into next season with all the excitement in the world, competing right there against Clemson, right there against the top of the ACC. Like, what more could you want? All right, Wolfpack Nation. So that wraps it up here with our second part here. So we have our season finale coming up here, where we're going to be talking about the last 4 games of the season versus Miami, at Wake Forest, at Virginia Tech, and UNC at home. And just to kind of recap once again, so I have us going 6-2 with losses to Notre Dame and Clemson. Greg has us going 7-1 with a loss against Clemson. Michael has us going 7-1 with only a loss against Louisville of all of them, and then making same as me, 6-2 losses Notre Dame, Clemson. But once again, to make sure you do not miss out on part 3, hit that free subscribe button, hit that notification bell, as it really helps support us as well, and we would greatly appreciate that. If you enjoyed this conversation, if you think that NC State is going to be a great team this year and you're excited for it, hit that like button, and then make sure to give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We'll see y'all for part 3, and go Pack, y'all.